Hey guys, welcome back to Tethan Props. Today I'm going to show you how I went about making Theoden's lightsaber. So this is obviously based off Theoden's sword, so shows up in Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, and it's just an absolutely beautiful sword and turned into a really nice lightsaber. Let's get to how I started making this. First I started off with a 3D model, which I had to chop and change around to make it fit all the electronics and fit a lightsaber blade and all that. Once I did that, I could print it out on my Anycubic Mono X printer. So these were some chunky 3D prints. Like the emitter section of it was a huge print. So I'm glad I've got this bigger printer now that can actually print large pieces like that. Once I'd printed them out, I had to take them off the build plate. So just use a spatula to carefully wedge them off. Then just clean the parts with a paper towel, clean them in isopropyl alcohol, and then clean them in warm soapy water. After that, you have to cure them. So once prints come off the printer, they're not fully cured. So you have to either put them outside or put them in a UV curing box for a little bit, and that'll finish off the cure. Once you've done that, remove the supports and your prints are good to start for assembly. So I've got all my parts printed, cleaned up. I've sanded off the supports so you can see they're a little bit dusty, but the detail on these are just amazing. So really happy with how these prints turned out. Yeah, look a bit dusty now, but they'll clean up quite nicely. First thing I need to do though is start assembling this. So I've got my prints, a few couplers, as well as some extra PVC pipe here. So I can seriously just start putting this together. First bits I want to put together is the top section here. So I've got my coupler that is being made the right size to fit a 1-inch lightsaber blade, and this will slide up in there quite nicely. Alrighty, so let's glue this together. I want to glue this bit in first, and then I'll glue it into the top section. So I'm just going to let that sit for a bit. In the meantime, I can now do the bottom section. So again, my second coupler, which will be used to join the two parts together, goes in the top section that I 3D modeled a little bit wider there. So this coupler will simply just slide all the way down there. So again, a generous amount of super glue. Now I want to combine the pommel onto the middle section of the grip. So to do that, I've got a little bit of space where I can put a PVC core in there. So I need to glue this in, cut it off, and then we can glue the pommel on. So the last bit I need is PVC core going up the center here. So I'll simply glue this in, cut it off, and then I'll have to drill the hole. So this connects in there quite nicely. This lightsaber has a really good weight to it. Last thing I need to do for assembly is drill out the hole there that's for the button. And I know that I need it a fraction larger than the hole there. So I just do a quick run around with the Stanley knife and it cleans it up perfectly. So that is assembly done, guys. We can now go and start painting this. So I'm gonna probably paint it in two separate pieces like this. First layer that I'm gonna put down is gray primer, and then we'll come back and see where we're at. All right, here we are. First layer of primer is down, and it's just really nice detail. Really liking how that's turning out. So it's time to now start painting these. The handle is a brown color, and then the rest of it's gold. So it's a pretty straightforward color scheme. But I think I'm gonna paint this whole section brown to start with, and then the brown can act as the base color for the gold. So pretty much paint the whole thing brown, and then we'll go from there. So I've got the brown paint down on Theoden's lightsaber here. The next thing I need to do is tape off where I want to remain brown, and then I'm going to go over it with gold spray paint. So I'm going to tape that now and then go and paint it. All right, so an annoying thing happened when I was painting it. I actually dropped it and it put these tiny little cracks all over there. So it must have hit there and kind of bent it, and it's kind of cracked the outside. So with the paint, they're kind of noticeable. This side's fine, so that's all good, but this side, we've got a couple big cracks through there. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. So here I have some grindings of the resin. So when I sand these down, a lot of grindings and powder comes from it. So this stuff's really good. And super glue. So essentially what I'm going to be doing is just patching all of these with a mixture of super glue and the powder. So the first thing that I want to do is brush the powder over so it goes into all of the cracks, and then I'm just going to put some super glue in there. Might have to repeat that a couple times, but it should clear up those cracks and stop them from spreading. So now I'm just going to let this glue sit, going to go back, sand over it, and then we start repainting again. So I've let this paint dry for a few days, so it's nice and cured and it's looking really good. The next thing I need to do is start weathering it. So it'll work really well on the main section here. I've got my black acrylic paint, and the technique will be just to have a slightly watered down black paint, which I then coat the whole thing in, and then I'll go back with some paper towel and rub it all off. So I'm just going to go and do this over the entire thing as well as the pommel. Painting is all done, so let's put some electronics in this. What I'm going to start with is this 200 lumen Arlec LED torch. So these are really good because they have a super bright LED torch that is charged by a USB cable there, and it also comes with the lens that you'll need as well as the button. So to pull this apart, it's pretty straightforward. You can pull the lens off, pull the back cap off, and then unscrew this front part. Then you just slide out the internals and then clip the button out. Just like that. The rest of it can be chucked out. So the lens is also in a bit of a casing there. So all we have to do is just clip it out. Just like that. And now it's usable. So I put my lightsaber electronics together with tape because it's an easy, low cost, fixable way to put all this together. If I glued it together or anything like that, it would be set in place for a long time and I wouldn't be able to change the color or anything like that if I wanted to. So the extra things I need is obviously the button that came from it, the lens, this little spacer which is just a clear tube, and then some light filters. So I'm going to be making this green. So I found the best way to get the brightest, most in-depth green color is to use 3 green filters plus a yellow. So I put the internal lightings, the spacer, put that together first. And then the next thing is the lens, followed by the filters. We'll use a bit of clear tape over the top of that. And there we go. In essence, that is how we get a really nice green lightsaber electronics. So I'm just going to bulk this up a little bit because these friction fit inside the lightsaber, again for removability, and if something goes wrong I can get in there and change it. So I just need to add a little bit more here, then I'll slide it in. And then our button, using a pair of tweezers, we just put that in place, and the way that I 3D model these, there's a little bit of a lip on the inside so that the outside of this button just fits in really nicely in the space. So once it's in there, it won't come out unless you want to pull it out. There we go. Looks really good. I think green was a good choice. Theoden seems like he would be a guy with a green lightsaber. And the green works really well with the gold color with the hilt there. Very happy with that. All right, that's it guys. And there we go guys, that is Theoden's lightsaber with a green LED looking absolutely amazing. So I didn't show it at the start, but it does take a standard 1-inch lightsaber blade. So that looks so good, even better in person. Really happy with how that's turned out. It is rechargeable, so you've got the USB charger in the middle of the handle there, and then you can just put the pommel and the rest of the handle back on. So that's it, guys. That is how I made Theoden's lightsaber. Hope you guys enjoyed this build. Check out my other Lord of the Rings lightsaber builds. I'm getting quite a few of them now, so it's made a nice little series of videos, so check them out. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.